version 2. And we are live. Whoa! Star Trek Perception Whiplash. FYI. FYI. Strange New Worlds is all but done. Today on episode 429 of Trekland Tuesdays Live. Whoa. This framing is so weird. With me, Dr. Trekland Nemechek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 for some sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture in all things Star Trek. Welcome to another Tuesday, gang. It's so good to see everybody here popping in. It's, no matter where you're going, and I should say happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends. Season's greetings. People are exhaustedly typing for their online ordering. That shopping is exhausting if you are gift giving. So yeah, it's the holidays. We are at 9 days to Christmas. Hanukkah's here. Everybody is distracted, looking elsewhere already. Some people are stuck still trying to get to work though. Hold on just a second. I need to make sure that it's fine. It's fine. Good grief, it's fine. All right. Sorry, gang. Why don't we take this from the top? Should we just do that? All right. Yeah. It is. I've said it if I've said it once, I've said it 2 times. Star Trek Perception Whiplash. Yeah. FYI, Strange New Worlds is all but done. Yes. Episode 429. Thanks for joining me today of Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek Larry Nemechek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47, Trekland Treks, all the good stuff. Hey, for a little sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture in all things Star Trek. How about that? Okay. Hey, everybody. Everything just feels a little bit better here, but it's a crazy time, right? I'm going to say happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends. It's season's greetings for whatever. That'll cover everybody. But wow, Christmas is only 9 days away. People are crazed. It's exhausting doing all that online ordering. So people are distracted these days. And sometimes their thoughts are not exactly with Star Trek. And I should mention that it's been kind of we try to make these evergreen, but right now, topically, kind of a rough weekend. And although we had no direct connection to Star Trek, there's a lot of Rob Reiner's spirit as a director in everything Star Trek. They align, as you would say. And the tragedy there, people politicizing what's a family tragedy and a mental health tragedy they're awful. The event is awful. Boy, Rob Reiner, how many quotable lines do you make in a week from Princess Bride? Just for starters. Yeah. So our thoughts are all there. As we proceed through the holidays and try to find our thoughts are with some of the unfortunate violence that's happened recently. It's a whipsaw to try to go through what's supposed to be the most joyous time of the year for so many, even of different faiths. And Kwanzaa's coming up here. Speaking of festivals and celebrations, in another week or so. But here we are. We carry on. We try to do what we can, and we hold our loved ones closer. And we try to indulge a little bit. We indulge in the holidays, and while I'm here for this hour or two, I'm going to indulge in Star Trek a little bit, even as we're mindful of all the and events in the world far beyond that. And as I've been saying the last 6-9 months, events beyond Star Trek are affecting Star Trek way more than they ever have, I think, historically. And I know that's what I talked about last week. There's some events that are beyond our control, more on the creative aesthetic side, a little more closer to home. And that's what I want to get into today as we get distracted by the events of the world and the season, whatever stripe that is. But before I dive any deeper, I want to say thanks again to all of our veteran TTLers who are here today. And howdy. I've seen more and more new faces, new handles, new accounts popping up last few weeks. So maybe it's longtime lurkers who are popping up in the chat. Maybe it's some all new folks. Wherever you're coming from, welcome. And look, the first thing you should know about Trekland Tuesdays Live is make sure you have the chat turned on wherever you're coming from, and dive in. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming from. What is your trek? What's the trek like where you are? What's the weather like where you are? All those things. We've got a wonderful community here. Our chat pack is great, and they kind of migrate around on Tuesdays. Feels like they started here. Of course, I've been doing this since 2017 in the primitive days of hand scrolling on my phone, where I think you could sometimes even see my finger as I was scrolling the chat windows, one window at a time. We've come a long way. It's been a long road getting from there to here. And so here we are. Hopefully as the year winds down, I'm glad you're here with us. See, this isn't even OU Red, Boomer, for Friday against Bama. This isn't even an OU shirt. I'm wearing holiday red here, everybody. And I want to get into this topic, but I do want to say hello to all our new folks. Get into the chat if you can. If you feel like it, say hi to everybody. Just to know that I hope you're coming on YouTube, even though I multi-stream. Well, why do you multi-stream? I'm old school. I'm old school 2020. But come on YouTube, because number one, you're going to see all the comments. If you're on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook comments in chat. And if you're on YouTube, you might be obliged to slide me a little silver. We're quasi-monetized. We have super chat. I appreciate all that. Every little bit helps. We've got a wonderful Patreon group here for everything Trekland online streaming. But I have that too for the folks who are just passing through. And if you feel generous this time of year to slip me a little bit, that'd be nice. I will also try to prioritize those questions, because here's the other thing. I'll have a podium here today, a soapbox they call it, and we'll talk, and then I'll take a micro break, and then I will get into the questions. So I'm not ignoring the chat stream at the beginning, okay, gang? Just to say. And look, if you are watching this later on YouTube, not live, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're here too. Leave a comment down below. We can keep the conversation going. There have been some good ones in weeks past. And look, if you're watching, the holidays are coming, people have work off, time off, kids are out of school. If you can make it by on a Tuesday, that would be wonderful. And you could be here live with us. I do it this time of the day because I like having the world folks with us. I know it's not prime time, evening America time, US time. So that's why. But yeah, jump in here, do all that. And I will come back through in just a minute. Just to say also, program note, this is going to be we're going to take next Tuesday will be off. So the 23rd, people are traveling anyway. It's getting more and more hectic. I'll be back on the 30th. Okay, gang? So no Trekland Tuesdays live on the 23rd before Christmas, but we'll see you on the 30th for kind of a wrap-up show for the year. See what the heck is going on by that time as we stare into the abyss of our 60th anniversary Trek year in 2026. Also, the 250th anniversary of the U.S., the sesquibicentennial or whatever. The bicentennial was such a huge, big deal. I know, I was a teenager 50 years ago. And it's just been crickets. I don't know if that says something about the mood of America or the mood of what licensees think will sell. I mean, I've seen no 250th anniversary American toilet paper the way we did in 76, but hey, that may be a commentary on Sates too. But yes, I don't know if I've mentioned this in passing. I don't know if this has struck anybody else, but here I am, maybe connecting dots. Nobody else is connecting. I always preach when we've had peak Trek. Well, I'll do it anyway. We live in a social media time. And one of the coolest ways, one of the most fun ways, and one of the best ways to get to know the creatives behind each succeeding new, Star Trek series, when they're all new to us, when they haven't been around for 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 or 60 years, and the actors and the behind the scenes folks. Thank God some people are trying to shine a light on them. But that's hard to do when they're coming at us right and left with these little short 10 episode seasons. Oh, we've had 5, we've had 3, and they're here and gone so fast. It's their social media accounts. Instagram has gotten so sullied in the last couple of years, but Instagram is still, when you're with actual human beings you want to follow for a reason, it's still a fun and a pretty way to keep up with people, and an honest and a sincere way. And what I'm talking, Anson Mount has been just sentimentalizing up a storm. He's been playing Senior Day and Senior Week for all it's worth for that cast. And I hope people are following Anson. I hope they're following Christina's, Celia's, all the accounts, not so much the official ones, but the actors, because they're the ones on the front line of the personal side of making a show. A lot of the directors, editors, visual effects folks are there too. The actors are the most visible. But I wonder how many people are actually paying attention to that. Anson has been doing it. Some of the news sites have been pointing it out. But I really wonder if it really has soaked in with fandom. Because fandom is sitting here going, oh, I can't wait for Academy. Or they're making snarky Academy comments. But they're still focused on this show coming out in January. Meanwhile, you've got, I know Christina and Celia have both put kind of, bittersweet posts about they've wrapped. Christina had a picture of her trailer door for the last time. Last time she's leaving it. So it's a real thing. They'll probably finish up all principal. Don't know exactly, but probably by the holidays. They have another 9 days. 8 days they want to get off on Christmas Eve. Them and the crew up there in Toronto. And the Americans getting home safely, flying home safely. Hopefully no incidents at the airport. And it's happening. It's for real. And we're all distracted, and that's the way it is. But it's so much more in these days. Gang, this is what I hate the most. Not about the shows, but about the era we live in for TV production. I've said it before. I hate this writing it 1 year in the writer's room, then filming it a year later. Oh, maybe 9 months if you're lucky. And then a year later is when it drops for the audience. It's a 1.5 to 2 years from the time the writers are grinding it out, conceptualizing it, perfecting it, to the time not only do we see it, but they're allowed to talk about it, which makes sense, except for this ridiculous stretch out frame. Oh, yeah. There's already reports of the sets for Academy. I've seen a couple of these being ready to be struck, or at least be, fold and hold is the term they call it in the industry. When you're not sure, you have to clear a stage, but you're not sure if you're going to come back. So they call it fold and hold, assuming they're all like flats, like a stage theater. But it's this whipsaw again of emotion. I've been in so many conversations recently where people want to talk about future Star Trek. And my head is, what are the Ellisons and Skydance going to do to the movies? Are they going to bridge with Alex Kurtzman? Are they going to let him go totally? Are they going to not bring maybe a 3rd season of Academy, assuming it's worth the salt? Will they just let TV go fallow? Or do they have somebody in the wings chomping at the bit to come in and run TV? And will they just let one-off producers pitch one-off series? Will they even put an emphasis on series? I know there's the new movie in the works, but movies are kind of a one-off thing unless you have a really, really unique situation, like Harv Bennett running the original series movies, or Rick taking the TNG movies under his wing doing other series. And I know we've got people who are attached right now to do that, but everything is so baby steps. Things change, things ebb and flow. People get snatched away to other projects. Things happen. Right now, it's at a real transitional inflection point. And I know we've been talking about this for weeks. What I'm saying is this disconnect between we are still sitting up. You say future Star Trek, most people, I caught myself. They say, what do you think about future Star Trek? And I go down this litany that I just did. I'm talking about, well, who's running it, and will they bring Academy over? Will they totally cut ties with that and just wait till they have somebody in place? Because it'll be a year and a half startup before we see. And people are going, no, I'm just talking about Academy next month. It's like, oh, okay. And that's fine. Of course, we want to wade through every episode. We have 20 episodes of Academy. Maybe that's all. But we haven't even seen the first season. They've wrapped the second. And they are still filming now, but they can't be too far from it, I don't think. But Academy's in its final days. And that disconnect between where fandom and the audience is and where the cast and crew are as a living, breathing, currently in production, creature. And it's not, you don't need it. You don't need it to enjoy the show, but in a reality where usually there's maybe a 2 or 3 month lag time, or at least in the old days, no matter how many episodes there were. And it's just odd to me. And I know what's adding to this is strange news. Can I say wonky? Is that a good adjective? Wonky third season, where some of the foam is off the root beer from the first two. Everybody was so high as a kite going into third. Now it's like, I think it's kind of turned around now. People have gotten through that and said, guys, please just focus back on, can I have a little Star Trek in my Star Trek? Can I have a little Strange New Worlds in my Strange New Worlds? Now, the thing is, most of the season was storyboarded, if not fully written and scripted, before they got the reaction, before the world chimed in with its reaction to season 3. So we'll see what for. I know the public perception and spin coming from cast and creators has been, oh boy, so many. There's a couple of wonky. Cressida just said we took some big swings. Of course, the final 6 will be a different flavor altogether because those were written with the knowledge that it would be their last. And how much are we racing this trope about getting to Kirk's first day in the chair? Now, remember, unless we deal with some temporal effects, but as a straight through, not the Prophet's chronology, Pike was still totally fine when he handed the ship over to Kirk and they had the transfer ceremony. It wasn't until months later, a few months later, well, a year, if you think Where No Man Has Gone Before, the second pilot was in the first year and then the startup of production first season on TOS. If that was well into a year later, then they talk about Pike having his accent as something fairly new. So Pike has another year or so after he transfers command to Kirk of the Enterprise. So we're not going to sit as we get to day 1 of Kirk's term. That's not going to be part of it unless we have flash forwards. And heaven forbid we've had those. Will we see the Telosians again? I don't know. But that's all coming. The Toronto gang, all know exactly what's happening for the last year. So yeah, actors and crew have to sit on this for a year or two. And they're used to that. But it's not just any year or two. It's the last year or two. And they're going to go out and get jobs. Crew has to get jobs. Designers, creatives, actors want to get on with a new project. And then they'll all put on the brakes. And when it's the right time, come and help promote all this. Or they have hopefully, they're so much better about it than they used to be, but still it's never enough. And for all the future years to come, but hopefully sat down and done interviewing and done documenting and captured this moment. And I don't just mean the emotion of this moment. I mean the whole production run. Since they don't let some of us do it like we used to in depth, we have to wait a year or two at least. And of course, the memories are never as sharp. The emotions are never as felt by then. It's better than nothing. And at least there is some documenting being done now, interviewing and documenting. But I know fans, viewers, I just want to watch the shows, Larry. I just want to watch the shows. I know. But we live in the real world. And I know after this time period, fans who find Strange New World 3 years from now, much less 10 years from now, they won't care about all of this. It'll just be title cards in the Paramount Plus queue. It'll just be entries in a menu to them. The same way that we actually have people who don't look at Best of Both Worlds, The Last Line, and think, oh, 3-month wait. It's just the next show now. I don't think anybody thought about it that much, but the 2-year lag between season 2 and season 3 of Strange New was ridiculous. But in a year or two, no one will care except the people just keeping the history fresh for the record, just for the record. The night, and I think it was Omega Glory, the night that NBC in the closing credits announced that Star Trek had been renewed, and the subtext was, please stop writing. You're burying us. We're spending so much money to answer this mail. That was unprecedented. They'd never come on the air and said, okay, we're renewing this show, because, TV network lingo was so unknown to average Joe and Jane viewer out there. We're going to confuse them if we say renewed. But thank you, TV Guide, back in the day. People were starting to get a little savvier. And hey, Making of Star Trek wasn't out yet, so even Star Trek fans were still learning the biz and the way things worked. It was still very much a little town and inside community. But even then, even though they broke through that wall and announced that. But today, no one cares. We have that whole thing about the aired order versus the production order of original series episodes, because at the beginning, you wanted to have a muck time #1 for second season, even though it was on down the line in production. You didn't start The Cage as the first line, the airing, because it was too confusing, because everything changes. And even Where No Man is in, 5th or 6th or 7th to air. So you're not confused without seeing the final designs and palette and McCoy and Uhura first. So, there's always been a little bit of a disconnect that way. And that history eventually doesn't care about the original airing moment, aside from just a note of history, right? So some of this is naturally going to go away. But this is also the time, again, when things are recorded. People's honesty, their emotions, their feelings, their memories. It's not about being honest or not, really. It's just about being fresh and raw and real. And I'm sorry, I hope many, many, many more generations of fans, 60, 120, 180 years, are watching these episodes of all the eras and enjoying them. And I'm just saying, earlier on, it wasn't an issue, and there was some documenting. It's rare at the time, and, filled in later. I know it's going to be around forever, and eventually no one will care about this moment in reality. But you know what? We're not 60 years in the future. We're right now. And it does impact the way these things are archived and recorded for posterity. And I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird to see actors talking about leaving a show when the audience, it's not the audience's fault. The audience is left just wanting the next few shows, the next few episodes, the next season. And again, we've got the artificiality. Is that normal? The normal of the old days, the old ways, you start shooting in April. Writers come back. A month later, you start shooting. And then you take 2 or 3 months off. It's staggered. The writers go home first. The post-production people go home last. Everybody takes 2 to 3 months off. Those old days. But not just that show happens. It happens with that series. But that the whole industry, 90% of the industry, is on the same schedule. And now everything is so splintered. And I'm really hoping not to be Grandpa yelling Grandpa yelling in the yard here at the kids of modern production. It was way easier to track, but it also just felt like it was so seasonal. It's pilot season. There is no pilot season now. But the audience was in sync with the makers. You know, if there was a show, if there was an Entertainment Tonight story about a wrap party for a season, much less a series, in April, and the audience didn't see the final until June, that wasn't so insurmountable. 2 months, 3 months, that wasn't a big deal. You had the memory. The footage that people shot in April at the wrap party was still very viable to use 2-3 months later when you did your news story about the actual finale screening to get nuts and bolts about it. Yeah, but it just brings the weirdness home. Now look, there's an artificiality we've been through with the pandemic and then the strikes, and that made everything even worse, even slower. I get it. And now we've got this artificiality of the ownership changes and the ownership, the sale melodrama and affecting Paramount, affecting Star Trek. And all that now, is that about to compress it back? I mean, are we not going to worry? Is this not a complaint for the last season, half season of Strange New, for the second season of Academy? Is that all going to be not stretched out, but compressed? Because it's hurry up and get out of the gate here. Alex, you and your guys, so long, farewell. Don't let the screen door hit you on the way out. I mean, is there a compression now instead of a stretch out going on? This race to get things done, the race to don't even think about even con as a limited film. So just get it done. Dramatic podcast. That'll be nice. Wrap it up, guys. Wrap it up. I sincerely think they don't know exactly what's coming, unless somebody somewhere is saying, okay, maybe yes, maybe we do Legacy, or maybe yes, maybe we do United, or any of these other pitches floating around. Or maybe are they all, I hope not. I hope they can be all assessed on their own merit and not just lumped in as, well, that was the last regime's batch, because these different pitches all come from wildly different places. And of course, Mike's United pitch with Archer is something he's had from before Kurtzman times. Yeah, it's just very weird. You say future Star Trek to me, and I'm thinking post Skydance. I'm leapfrogging over all of this when you say future to me, because to me, these series coming out, they're part of the past, even though they're not. And I don't say that I'm not going to watch them, hopefully enjoy them, critique and react to them, sure, like everything else. You just say future Star Trek to me, and my head's out here. And I know that's weird, and I know there's plenty here to react to. The entire series of Academy, and the last 16 of Strange New. And it feels like just yesterday that we were celebrating the coming of this show, and then suffering through the defeats and the COVID delays and all of that. And here we are. But what's the bottom line here, you say, Larry? Am I just yelling at the world here? Am I just flailing at the current state of streaming and question marks about Paramount? And even if that settles and we have people in place and everything settles down and all these ownership and buyout dramas and the stuff with Warner's does or doesn't affect Paramount, even if all that's done and settled and we have something looking like normal for at least a year or two, but mostly what that means is nothing has changed in what I'm talking about. And we still have this dragged out production process that separates the creatives from the audience by a year and a half or 2 years. Maybe I'm just flailing. Maybe nothing's going to change until we have the next big paradigm shift of whatever the hell that's going to be. Till we have subcutaneous transmitters in our temples, just watching everything projected on in our brain screen. I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't think this disconnect is fully absorbed by mass fandom, beyond online people, beyond the congoers, I don't think people are processing the fact that Anson and his gang are saying goodbye to us, and people are just bopping along. I don't think that's sunk in. And when you get to the airings of their episodes, there's no infrastructure in place to talk about it. I mean, there'll be the studio infrastructure, but it'll all be, it might as well have been something they did 10 years ago. Maybe not. But it's not as fresh to them as it is to the audience. Now, hopefully there's a lot of that. Hopefully they enjoyed the time, which most of them say they do, and it's a Star Trek. Most of the people that work on Star Trek love the experience. For most people that work on Star Trek, from the leads of shows, unless they've had several, Scott's had several great experiences on TV. But whatever, the cast, and especially down through the writers, all the way down to the second assistant caterer. Most people will say working on Star Trek was a great experience, one of the best of their life, and it's the one they feel cool talking about because they know what it means to the audience, to the fan base, and they know what it means to the culture of the world. Star Trek is such a positive. Of everything they work in, if they have to play a villain, they love playing a villain in Star Trek. If they do whatever, if they are the second assistant editor, whatever it is, they appreciate being a part of Star Trek. And that's never going to change. They're still going to be connected that way. But I just, I don't want to be this railing at the clouds flying by guy. But I don't like it. I know it's not going to change anytime soon, but I don't like it. And this is as clear an example of people telling us bye when it's a temporal vortex. It's what it is. So I guess it's perfect for Star Trek. Yeah. What would the prophets think? They would just take the Larry there and let me talk linearly. All right. I don't know. Is that, in this holiday time, is anybody watching their socials fly by from up in Toronto and going, oh, yeah, I guess they're closing the show down, huh? Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I just wanted to put a fine point on that. I've mentioned it in passing. It's not going to change anytime soon. I wish it would. I don't want to be one of those, I want to go back to the old days, but I thought they made sense. And if the old days doesn't have to be a crew killing 26 a year, but can we at least get back to maybe 18 episodes a year? 20? Maybe that can be part. Maybe the next big, if not shift, maybe the next big adjustment in TV production, series drama, 1 hour production can be just getting back to a higher model, a business model that includes at least 15. That's the first year of Discovery had 15. 18, I think, might be a compromise between all the factors involved, financial, crew sanity. Yeah. That could be part of that. And maybe if we get to there, maybe we get back on a realigned system that we used to have that made sense, that made human linear sense, because we don't all have a handy wormhole nearby with the wormhole builders inside to get us out of this. Yeah. What do you think, guys? Is the end of the Strange New Worlds cast, despite whatever they got handed to say last year, the cast and crew going and locking up, is that sinking in with anybody? Are you too busy, distracted, expectant for Academy? What's going on with everybody? I'd love to hear from you. We get to the chat here in a second. Maybe I've stirred something up. I don't know. I just want to say, and I don't have fancy graphics for it, but I always love to talk about Trekland Treks. We had Carol and Scott last week. It was a beautiful 80-degree day here in LA. Now, I can't always promise that. Hopefully, we'll always do well. And we've got out in some, but TreklandTreks.com. It's the day tour that I set out with you. 4 stops, fast food lunch, so we can keep moving. 6 hours. And I'm the one that helped you not only pick out the places that make sense for that day, but also I'll get you through LA traffic and help you wrangle props, cosplay, whatever it is you want to bring along. treklandtreks.com. I'd love to have you on sometime. And of course, 2020 is the 60th anniversary, or 2026, I should say. And we've got the Exploring Trek Sites Hollywood to STLV Geek Nation Tours. That's my friend Terrace Cassidy. Look. We have guests with us. They're all spending a little time at some of the different sites, and one a different day. That's a difference over the last time we did this 10 years ago. That's geeknationtours.com. If you're interested, it's the week before the Vegas Con. Don't have to go to the Vegas Con, but we end up at Vegas, starting in LA. It's 6 days. Look it up if you're interested. We can have no more than 20 people. We need at least 10. Can't have more than 20. Ooh, it'll be a cozy warm up for Vegas or any time. It'll be warm in late July. That's coming up in 2060. So much stuff is happening. I'll talk about the new year on this last episode. Remember, we're off next week. Yeah. But of course, this year, next year, the big thanks around here goes to all of my Patreon folk. So thank you. This is the December 1st list. I have some changes already to make. But I want to thank for now Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbert Gunnjonson, Lawrence Todd, Mitch Keith Rombach, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, Comedy Forecast. Thank you, guys, gals, and peeps. And my live wires, J.R. Poole, Gary Williams, Rob McLean, Byron Bailey, MJ Frug, Chris Garris, Brandon Cowles, Dave Gregory, Jesse Crusher Convo, Donna S. Runyon, and Casey Shafsky. And for those of you new, you should know that it's just my very simple Patreon, $5, $10 a month. You can go higher if you want to. It's patreon.com/Trekland Live for the shout out. And you know what? We get the holidays. I owe so many of my live wires, my $10 folks, working links this time to some of our early years of Portal 47, those interviews. And you know what? If you want to help support my work, but also get something good out of it too, just bump up and do the package. Do the Portal 47 monthly. It's $33 a month. It's the live features, the things I send out as well from archives. And it's a great community, and it's around the world too. In fact, Global Portales tomorrow is Ask Dr. Trek for the Euro and Midday Edition. It is. And of course, I'd be remiss without reminding you that the Trek Files is up new. We have a good one. We have a topical one. Yes, the great Mike Sussman, who's suddenly back in the news with his Archer pitch, his Star Trek United pitch, which is fun to me because he's been talking about it off and on to people for the last 3 or 4 years, especially during the strikes. But it's out there now, and people have, that failed little show Enterprise. Who'd have thought? But everybody loves Scott, and he's had enough career that he feels like he's not hanging on Star Trek for all of his resume. Will it ever get done? Who knows, but it's sure as hell a lot of fun talking about it. Why not just greenlight Legacy and United both? It's a false choice. Do them both. My point is, Mike is our guest on the Trek Files, and we look at the roots of Star Trek United from Enterprise. Yes. It's kind of a rare treat that way, but we did it because we had archival stuff to talk about. And you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the In a Mirror Darkly bio screens. Of course, Mike was there. It's a fun time. It's the Trek Files. I hope a lot of people please like and share it and get it around, because there's so much buzz about United right now. It would be great to send people over that way. And it would be great if, go ahead and get in my socials. I'm still Larry Nemechek on Twitter X, as well as Blue Sky. And it's Larry's Trekland on Facebook, on Instagram, and yes, YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe while you're here. And that's going to do it. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, hey, I'd love to have you live on a Tuesday at 1-ish Pacific and 4-ish Eastern. But that's also 9-ish UK GMT and 10-ish Central Europe. Or wherever in the world you're coming from. Maybe you can stumble in with us live, early morning, middle of the night, whatever it might be. Love to have you here with our TTLers in the chat as well. That's going to do it for us now. Everybody be safe out there, do all the things. And that includes this time of year, watching out for yourself with all the holiday madness. Keep it to the holiday joyful side, not so much the holiday mad side. There's enough crazy in the world without helping to add to it. Yes, we're off next week, and then we'll be back for the 30th, right? And we'll close out the year in good style and on into 2026 for the 60th anniversary year. I think I said, everybody, please stay healthy, do all the things. And oh my God, please stay woke. Check the sources. And trek well. Okay. Yes, I should have mentioned that Netflix is dumping all Star Trek. Not just in the world, but in the American market too. That includes Prodigy, unless Paramount Plus gets it back up. Don't think I've seen that. Christoph, you go back to the to the live support days. Where are we? Oh, it's hidden back there. That's Skype. You know, Skype went under. Oh gosh, good riddance. Poor thing though. Skype was fine in the early days, but you know, Microsoft got its hands on it. Absolutely. Anyway, howdy, Christoph. Howdy, Bob. Hey, better video. Yes, take two. Ed, hey, howdy, my figure. Howdy doody. I still try to use the handle names here, like Robert and Cairo. Hey, TARDIS Captain, who I know is Carl. Oh, there you go. Thank you for spreading the word on that one, Christoph. A little signal boost. Hey, if David's backing it, it's probably good for me too. Yes. Some people go, back to Spinal Tap. He had some other ones that didn't get such attention. Of course, you see this beard. I remember the night All in the Family premiered. Wow. I was like, this is hysterical. I can't believe it's on TV. It's so amazing to think that the first time anybody heard a toilet flush on American TV was All in the Family. Aside from everything else that was verbally said, the first time they had a toilet flush, it brought they had their live audience, which was another new thing they did. Wasn't so much done until then. For a sitcom to be recorded with a live laughter track and not a fake laugh track, that was revolutionary as well. It was a lot like Star Trek. How many different arenas could we be pioneering something new? That was All in the Family. And to think that I started to say Mike. The fact that Rob Reiner was there and he came from such royal. We all love Carl Reiner. Yes, Bob, the most joyous time of the year isn't for some and makes the hurting worse. Very true. Apart from public tragedies, a lot of people, the holidays are not their favorite time of year for all the reasons. And we should be mindful of that too. Hey, Chuck, good to see you. I agree, Ed. I agree. Thanks for your support through the year too, man. New accounts. A lot are a forced name change, at least on YouTube. Yes. Oh, okay. Roger Noriega, one of the first people to ever have me on a podcast, Roger. We should do it again sometime because you're still blowing and going. My goodness, thanks for bopping in here, man. I mean, we're talking what, like 2010? Way back there. Oh no, Ed, you're going to choose food over this kind of sustenance? How real are you? Very real, actually. There are no events. Zahir, now come on. I know you. You know better than that. Christoph, questions? Oh, I answered this without seeing your prompt. I did. Jim, good to see you. Yay. Yep. My pleasure. What's amazing is that I'm actually thinking ahead enough to come up with that decision. Yeah. I'm just bummed because not having a free Wednesday night in Dead Week is messed up my portal planning. It's an eve. This year the Wednesdays are the eves and Christmas and New Year are the Thursdays. And there you go. Boom. I didn't used to, the first few years I would just plunge ahead. And I know there's people that totally have that time available. They're not up to their eyeballs wrapping or shopping or baking or traveling. And they appreciate having somebody to talk to. But, these days there's no lack of Trek people to fill your ear. Melanie! It's like early or something for you. I'm so late and here you are. Judas Booth. Oh, Chris. I got all excited. But good to see you, man. Hello from Toronto. Yes, the city that stole Star Trek. Look, if you could make it 20% as much, I wouldn't mind the theft if I was the one handling the money. Hi, Positive Fandom 9066. I know you by another name, no doubt. Right? Hey, Rose, hello, my dear. Hope happy National Chocolate Covered Everything Day. Okay, then. Making me think of some of my mom's old chocolate Christmas recipes there. Happy Heroin's Day, folks. Not like that fake Heroin's Blast Week. Sean, you just leave me. I have no idea what you're talking about when you get off like this, but it's fine. I'm not going to gatekeep today or ever. Mona is here. Hi, my dear. Sean, thank you so much for that great advice. I don't know what that second sentence is, but okay. Oh my gosh. Changeling test. The DS9 episode Sanctuary guest stars the son of what? Oh, no. Oh, yes. Yes. And it's it's very bittersweet in light of what we've just seen in celebrity world the last few days. But I won't spoil your answering there. This is true, Sean. It was a different time and they weren't shooting so much stage material that there wasn't a demand on the Paramount lot. But they were only empty from, in between the movies. They didn't take them down during the TOS movies, and then TNG started using those sets full time in 87. So they were up for 8 years of incidental movie use and then full-time use until Enterprise, and then the bones were torn down, everything was rearranged. But yes, absolutely. This was a question we were talking about. I did a live panel with Nick and David on Sci-Fanatics, and Benji from Greatest Generation was part of it, and we talked about this. Not much, but we kind of mentioned it because it was about to get forgotten in the year wrap up. I hope the Con podcast doesn't get the Con audio drama doesn't get overlooked and everything. Joel, good to have you too, man. Rose, who's counting down the days? Season 3 Blu-ray. Yes. 23rd February. I need to get back on my stuff with that. Yes. Pre-order season 3, and then it's there if you need to go back and look at it. Oh, Sean, you were watching What We Left Behind, talking about the writing process. That's the DS9 documentary where they reassembled a lot of the writing room, the main writers. Did the writers have the same holidays as everybody else, or did they need to come back a few weeks early? Well, they had individual holidays. I mean, they had Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving and whatever. But yes, they came back first and got started. And they came back fresh and they are carrying ideas around. Maybe they left for a hiatus, some years more, some years less. If there was a cliffhanger show, obviously something was set up. Sometimes they'd have the first one or two shows mapped out to come back to, so it wouldn't be such a cold start. But the writers came back, and a few more, like people that had to get budgets going and all of that. Some people were, but the most part of the crew, you staggered in as you got to, and then the post and visual effects people would be like the last to come in, but then they would be the last to go. When they say filming stops and all the principal photography is done, well, there's still B unit things to go in and do inserts, but it's all the music and composing and sound effects and the voiceover work, dubbing if they need that, and editing the raw draft is quasi there, and visual effects, and those people, and then the people associated with promotion and distribution, usually in an office. So yeah, it is a staggered, and that's why in the heat of a season, you've got the people working ahead, the people working on the current episode, and the people working on the last one. So post is working on the last one, the stage is filming, and the writers are working on several things to come. Somebody's tending the one that's being filmed, but you've got things in different stages of progression, which is why that's so much less for a 10-episode season than for 26. I wouldn't recommend 26 episodes. It was a killer. Took a huge toll on personal health, on families, all of that. So I get it. I'm nostalgic a little bit for it, but then if we're honest, there was at least 3 or 4 episodes a year that were clunkers. They just suffered from the crunch of time. And they might have been better if they'd had more time to be developed, but they just got caught in the mix, caught in the blender, in the time blender. So there, I answered your question. Yes. They also left a little earlier than everybody else did on that staggered system. I think it's everything, Rose. It's all the formats. Yes, Sean. They ended part 1 not knowing. It was in Michael's head. Michael didn't know if he'd be coming back even. So yes. After that year of writing the rims, they took Redemption, the next year's cliffhanger. They very much knew how it would end. They tended after that first year to have an idea just to avoid the drama. Part of that first year with Best of Both Worlds was wrapped up in Michael's personal situation, whether he would come back or not. Why should he work on a script that he wasn't going to be around to be paid for? Although he would have been paid for his credit. The way they got scripts on Sunday night, was there a special Paramount courier who went around delivering? Was it just FedEx? Did any ever go missing? These are good questions, Sean. I don't think, unless something was very, very, very hush-hush, it wasn't a FedEx, but it was like a commercial courier. Like in the old days, now everything would be sent with PDFs. But when it was paper scripts, you would hire a courier, somebody on a bike. Or if it was really industrialized, somebody with a car or a truck, and they would have, different boxes and do it for several shows. And I don't think anything ever went missing as far as you're thinking, like a fan theft and it's a spoiler and, oh, look what I've got. Yeah. Thank you, Rose. You guys are great supporters. Thank you, man. Thank you for reminding everybody. You and Christoph and everybody that does that. Oh, Jim, you want to know if the Academy show will be known as STA like TOS or TNG? I see what you're saying. Well, I wouldn't call it STA. Just because we've not used Star Trek like that. And I know I don't like this. I call it SFA. Even though you're on a mission This is so problematical because Dorothy Fontana would have spelled Starfleet as STAR, capital FLEET, 2 words. A lot of the early crew, and some since, have called it 2 different words. And the only time, by canon rule, the only time we ever saw Starfleet in the original series, up front, was written as 1 word, little f, which might be more stylish and more, trademarky than having the 2 words capitalized. But what I do know is all the years, and I don't mean this series, I mean over the years of just having Starfleet Academy graphics and, graphics for licensed like caps and jackets and all that. And you kind of bridge that gap with now. So there was a lot of abbreviating going on. And I remember at the time, people saying, well, should it be SFA? Because that implies it's 3 words. Or should we say SA? Well, SA has a lot of vague and unfortunate in some cultures and countries connotations. And plus, it's just weak as 2 letters. It's like LD means something else. And it just looks weak as 3 letters. 3 letters is such a stronger impact. And I know you're saying STA. We don't say STE for Star Trek Enterprise. We say ENT. Now, you could say ACA for academics. That would look like over here. That would look like the Affordable Care Act in America. So I just say SFA, even though I see SF and I think either science fiction or I think San Francisco. I know. And it splits Starfleet as if it's 2 words. But I'm sorry, that's the one that Starfleet Academy should just be SFA. And it looks good as 3 letters and all that. And I think that's what is the official response. I don't think anyone's going to go for STA. Did I say before Kurtzman's contract was due? People give it various months, but I think the thing that I pretty much is sure the consensus of I think October next year, but it's not like, series pitching and promotions, much less selling one and putting it up. Those take months and months and months of lead time. It's not like people are going to work right up until the last day. There'll be a slack off for months to. It's slacking off now, getting all these things wrapped up. Now, whether airing equals production, we'll see. But there's certainly, it feels like they're trying to wrap all these up, not expecting to be renewed as a showrunner. And, there's nothing to prevent, say, Academy from coming back for a 3rd season, whether or not Alex is running the franchise under contract or not. It's always an individual show. They can just restart. So we'll see. But the big picture question is what we're all kind of waiting on, even though this other melodrama keeps raging. So whoever was running the studio was going to have to make this decision at the time. Do they renew it? Do they renew it for a different time amount? Is there a bridge contract? Is it just hit the road jack completely? We will see. We will see. The prophets would think better merchandise. Yeah. Okay, Sean, you don't like Kurtzman. He's coarse and rough and irritating, and he gets everywhere. What? Did I miss something here? Are you making a sand joke? Yes, Sean, I did see that it's all coming out Netflix UK and Ireland and America too. Studio space is expensive. If it's in California, you're better off using it as a museum as no production is happening. Boy, there was talk for about 10 seconds about not tearing down the promenade back in 1999, stage 18, and letting it stay up and having it be the welcome historical and a Star Trek fan magnet for tourism, but also leave it up as a practical headquarters for studio tour headquarters. People would come in the Bronson Gate, or they would come in the Lemon Grove Gate for tours and just go to stage 18. And it's the promenade. And it was built so securely because it had to hold up. It wasn't a flimsy set. It had to hold up the 2nd story. It was a pretty strong, substantial set. Yes. This is what I call the arrogance of the new. In fact, this almost was a topic this week. Sometimes it's nobody's fault. It's just when there's no institutional memory carryover. The new people have to come in and they bring where they were and they have to learn it for themselves. And if there's no people in the mix to help transition who are high enough the totem pole to help make decisions, then you just have this like reset over and over again. You're lucky to have a stable time in Star Trek for anything. And it was the same thing in 2017. A year or two from now, a lot of these people insisting on these high rates because they think that's just what it should be because it's Star Trek and that's how you get high quality. You're going to lose the mom and pop licensees. And now maybe you don't need them, but with Star Trek, I think you do. It's sad. I wish Star Trek was as big a merch seller as Disney or Star Wars, but, or the Turtles. I mean, whatever. But it's not after the last 10 years, and it's got to get there. And I'm sorry to say, but I think I don't know if the streaming series are ever going to, I may have another topic here. I don't know if the streaming series are ever going to be the right model to get Star Trek back to what it was. And then I don't think you lean on a movie, a series of movies to do that. 2 hours every year. I don't think that does it either. That's not what Star Trek's about. But yes, we've had at least 2 high-profile and beloved licensees. I forget what Kavitra's, the artist, what her art and print company's called, but it's Kavitra. And then, of course, Tony at Hero Within. Has this come out yet? I haven't heard any. I haven't even thought about them, or that there might be rumbling here, but there you go. Oh, Rose, if I'm off the 23rd, will I be on the 30th? Or will I have to? No. I'll be here on the 30th. We'll do a look back show for the year. I will be here on the 30th. Absolutely. Hey, Willie, you're good. You're all good whenever you get here. There are no events but Star Trek, except for doctor appointments, bill paying, looking for a new apartment, cataract surgery. Oh, that's right, Mona. You've got a big one there. A big schedule coming up. And we'll be back. I will do next week. We will have Trekophiles Tonight on the Monday at 4 p.m. And I totally did not say, speaking of the Trek Files, that if you want to be in the Trek Files community, let me just do this. And hey, just to remind everyone, if you want to be in the specialized Trek Files community, all of our Trekophiles spelled with an F, you jump into the Roddenberry Discord, the Patreon for Mission Log. You can get in for as less. That made no sense. You can jump in for as little as $1 a month and join the Patreon for Mission Log and all things Roddenberry. And you got access to all the groups, the live events, and just the message board groups for all the Roddenberry shows. And a lot of groups that have nothing to do with the Roddenberry show. They're just about other franchises, other sci-fi bits, other wacky things. But yes, the Trekophiles are a corner on the Mission Log Roddenberry Patreon, on the Discord, and everything we do there. There's two message boards and our live platform. Every other Monday, next Monday is a Monday, every other Monday at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. You can jump in for Trekophiles Tonight. We'd love to have you. And it's only $1 a month. And you've got access to all the other Roddenberry stuff, too. It's cool. Ambush Desert Naked Grandmother was a reference to the Dan dance in okay, Sean. Okay. Oh, look at this. MJ, thank you so much. Oh, wait, 7 Australian dollars. What's the exchange rate now? But thank you so much, man. That's very kind of you. Person who just joined everything all at once. You actually made it to Alive. If only I had something to say. I thought you'd been to Alive, but there you go. See, holidays disrupt everything sometimes for the better. Yes, Michigan J. Frug. I know exactly what that came from. What are you saying here, Sean? Am I remembering rightly that DS9 forced the union to change rules because there were serious and fatal car? There were a couple of crew people who were on one of those really long, like especially the Fridays, because there was no call the next day, so it didn't affect a call time. And they didn't shoot on Saturday. They didn't have to come back, but still, it was a long day, and there was at least one crew person who rode his motorcycle back and forth and had a dozed off, or just the fatigue got to him at 3 a.m. or such. Yes. Now what? Positive fandom 9066. You want to see 16, 8 in the spring and 8 in the fall. Well, that's not acceptable. Wow. Just that's like a compromise to have all round Trek of a series anyway. That would be interesting. Hey, Notorious Nick Norris. I don't know if have we been introduced before? I'm glad to have you here. But basically, yeah, it's like there's no rule book, there's no law on this acronym stuff. Remember the hash out over Discovery and then Prodigy. I still wanted Prodigy to be PDG, Prodigy, but nope, because Pro looks like Pro. It loses context if you get out beyond Star Trek at all. 16 in 2 blocks, since it's a happy medium, makes it cheaper per episode. Yeah, and I mean, you can still film them whenever, because if people want to be off enough to go be at something else that's a short run, you can do that, unless you're on some kind of exclusivity contract or something. Oh, really? It's clearly pronounced. It's clearly meant to be Stisva, pronounced Sostfa. I don't think there's anything clear about that. SA versus SFA. We insert the third for consistency. Yeah. You feel like the era of clean 3-letter abbreviations for the shows is over, sadly. SA doesn't work for many reasons. Yes. If anything, I'll also go to SFA, but even that feels wrong somehow. I know. It feels better than STA, because STA you want to preserve for anything star with it. I'm reluctantly happy with SFA, but yes, we're not doing SA. No 4 letters. Nope. But yeah, is it a debate? Is it really a debate out there now? Yeah. Yes. I know the studio, because John Van Sitters was pretty much doing this, and he was taking sampling from some of us. It was pretty much DSC. People fought against that because there's no vowels in it. And dis is what people do to DSC. Yeah, and STD. People think are so clever. And well, there you go. What more do I need to say? Well, everybody says disco out of familiarity now. Yeah. But if you still want a 3-letter acronym, stand up, whatever, by definition, disco doesn't work. So, what do we got here? I know. What are you saying? Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. I wasn't bridging franchises there with you at the moment. Hey, Triple N. You own many Treks on DVD and Blu-ray, but Netflix was super convenient. Well, yeah, Paramount Plus doesn't provide enough content value for me to subscribe only for Trek content. I know. I've been surprised. There's a couple things I stumbled into on Paramount Plus. I was like, oh, But now that we're out of the era of New Trek, I might do the same thing. Well, I guess we'll just have to put up with it, won't we? Turbo typing. You and your telephone turbo typing. Quarks' phone, don't just walk, run. No, I don't think so, because they would look at it as they'd have to repair all the damage and spilled drinks and food stains, and it would wind up being a cost. So even if they're paying somebody else to host the mess, I think they might have thought that it was too much cost and risk to do. On the other hand, if Paramount Plus, I didn't do a follow-up on this whole who's going to buy Warner Brothers and how does it affect Trek, but I've had a lot of people tell me that even though they're both scary in ways, that the Netflix deal is just horrible for the future of Hollywood. That Paramount, as weird as it seems, the negatives of Paramount would all be esoteric and intellectual and political. The negatives of Netflix would actually be bad on the industry and employment and diversity of voice and all of that. And there's a little bit of concern of that with Paramount, but that they wouldn't have any intention of the steps they would ultimately take being bad for jobs and what's left of the industry in LA and all of that. So there's a lesser of two evils kind of approach rather than they're both bad. Oh, which also could have been another follow-up to last year. Yeah. But there you go. P Plus might be worth it if they absorb. Oh my God. If you had all the bugs in Daffy, I'm sorry. I think Warner Brothers, and I still think that's what Warner Brothers was to me as a kid. Later on, I was like, oh, they do movies too. Yeah, Casablanca. How many times have I seen Casablanca? Thanks to Janet. But she has what was it? In 1990? What would 1992? Oh, yeah. She has the 50th anniversary gift set, and she has the 75th anniversary gift set, courtesy of me. And she framed, there was a special poster in that 1992 50th anniversary gift set, and she framed that and had that hanging in her, or she had Paramount frame it and had that in her office at Paramount all 5 years. Warner Brothers movie hanging in Paramount. But no one's going to say, take that down. Are you kidding? It's Casablanca. I mean, it was Star Trek and Janet too, but they weren't going to say anything. No one's that anal. Okay, Rose, we'll hopefully see you later too. What are you saying here? We need long-form seasons with filler episodes to flesh out the cat. See, that term filler, it's so... They're all good episodes. I hate that that's like it comes across as a judgment call or something. You can be descriptive, but that sounds like it's a less than episode. Well, it's either part of an arc, a hardcore arc, or it's not. I mean, you looked at it from the positive, like what X-Files had the mythology episodes, but if it wasn't a mythology episode, it wasn't a filler episode. A lot of people don't even know about the new series because they're on a pay channel. Not sure what you mean, Mona. Oh, Winter Wonderland event now on in Star Trek Online. Okay. Even you can afford $1 a month. There we go. Thank you, Rose. Same to you too. Same to you too. Be safe. Same happened with AJ Appa on Riverdale. Oh, okay. Okay, Triple N, greetings back at you. Yeah. PDG makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I wanted to have LDX for lower decks, like commercialized. It reminds me of the way railroads would abbreviate. But yeah, LDX was, LDS, well, not LDS. LDX was what I thought, and it was kind of distinctive. I wanted PDG and LDX. If they're going to insist on these 2-word titles for things or 1-word titles for things. Oh, Mona, are you the Mad Madam Mim? That's a Disney animated deep cut. The Sword and the Sorcerer. Sword and the Stone. Sword and the Stone. The great thing about Armin being in Delta Flyers is he's great at all the Union stuff. Well, he was also what David Goodman just was. He was on the negotiating committee board or representative during the 07-08 strikes. And yes, Armin's a huge union guy. Funny, right, Quark? But he's a huge union guy, and for the SAG and Screen Actors, and he was a great resource. Anything you need to know, both during the strike and later on. Oh, did you guys hear a jet? People keep telling me they don't hear the jets here when they fly. Hey, Pedro, good to have you with us. And it's Dave. Yay. I like how everybody's just working shifts now. If you don't like Yellowstone, there's pretty much nothing else of value to go to. There was, well, I can't even tell you what it was. There was some series we actually watched, and it wasn't the new Night Court or the new Sleepless in Radio in Seattle, the new Frasier. Oh, well, there you go. NCIS and Ghosts. To each their own. Right. Affinity apparently just withdrew today. Okay. Yes, absolutely, Pedro. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so is Star Trek Generations. Absolutely. Yippee-ki-yay! MFR. Okay. Boost their signal. Sure thing. Oh, Notorious Nick. You work in the industry. Okay. As someone who works in the industry, it has and worked on Netflix productions, completely agree. Oh, Netflix has a place, but should not have that near monopoly level of control and influence. Yeah, I thought the strikes pretty much exposed that the Emperor Netflix has no clothes. The Emperor Netflix streaming model has no clothes. By gosh, Trek culture, there's one thing I can say for you. You're not colorblind. Yes. Did you notice, though, in the original series, red shirts were hardly ever killed over the Christmas holidays? Go figure. Yeah. Everybody say hi to Trek culture. This is part of the picture. Yes, indeed. Yes. You know, I remember who in the room actually used to get DVDs in the mail from Netflix in the little envelopes, the flat envelopes. You actually ordered them and actually got the DVDs in the mail. We did. And we were late. We weren't even like bubble people out of the gate. New technology. A friend of mine had done it for months, maybe a year before we ever had our first one. Well, this is what I'm saying, Mona. I hope. And I don't know that anybody's put it to them whether Paramount Plus is going to pick up Prodigy. Dick Van Dyke's birth was closer to the death of Thomas Jefferson than to his age today. Wait, what? Okay, he's 100. So he's born in 1925. Okay. He's 5 years older than my mother. So he was born in 25. That's right. It was 99 years between Jefferson's death and John Adams. July 4th. Two presidents, two founders died on July 4th on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence being signed. Dick Van Dyke was born 99 years after the death of Jefferson. And it's 100 today. That's wild. Last year, it would have been exactly the same. Yes, this is what I'm saying. Just you need to look at it from the standpoint of like X-Files did in the mythology shows. If it's a hardcore, like Sins of the Father or Best of Both Worlds, but it's just descriptive. It's not a dig on the other ones necessarily, because some of the other ones are awesome. The Drumhead isn't part of an overarching arc. Yeah. Shades of Grey is more like what a filler episode would be, a clip show. Well, we have a term for that already. So the term is episodic TV. Filler is to say you hate episodic TV writing. Okay. They're all good episodes, even the bad ones. Even the bad ones? Oh, especially the bad ones. Very nice, Sean. Very good. Well, yeah, it's a negative word in this context. It's a negative connotation in this context. It's prejudging. Well, see, that's facetious, because what the main plot, they're all contributing bits and pieces to character arcs and character development. I don't know, especially when this was more of a thing. We had 26 episodes a year. 10, you might as well say they're all filler at 10. If you go with the strange new recent philosophy anyway. Oh, look, I'm popular enough to get another streaming troll. Sean, yeah, they might not have any power or clout, but I bet I could find 3 people who would take the pitch, who would listen to it. Yes, LDS. It's also Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. The Secret of Mim. There you go. Thank you. This is what I'm saying. 3 extra bread. Whoever you might be, thank you for that. Glad you're here. You may have been before. Wanda. Well, thank you so much. Boy, everybody's in a holiday mood. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And same to you. Happy holidays to you too. Yeah, not even a question. That's true super chat, not super question. See, I disagree with that. What's the main plot? The main plot is, here's people on this ship going around having adventures. When it's not serialized, that is the main plot. There's character arcs. Worf is being discommendated. Odo is in solid form for a while. Yeah. Very true. Very true. But then there's a lot of wonky 3 initial codes for airports that are way off. I mean, OKC was pretty easy. This is what I mean. The main plot of TNG was a bunch of people on a Federation starship running around being the flagship. Now, what are you saying here, Positive Fandoms? Or PF9? Netflix seemed to consider Squid, and Stranger Things in the same category as Casablanca. Wondering why Netflix didn't boast about Beasts of No Nation or their great remake of Lady Chatterley's Lover aesthetics. I I don't know. I have no clue. Don't ask me anything about Netflix. It's all guesswork after the fact. Oh, Affinity was one of the backers of the hostile bid. Okay. Where did we get into this? Sorry, guys, this is too strung out. But somebody mentioned Affinity earlier, and I didn't get it. Okay, I'm gonna lose my flow here if I don't. Huh. Okay. Thank you. We need less streaming and more physical media. The reliance on streaming isn't helpful. Yeah, it's not dependable. It's pretty shaky. Oh, Christoph, I was just thinking I need a fun Die Hard fact. And who better to give it to me than you? In German market, they didn't dare the original MF quote, use the original, but said Schweinebacke, literally pig cheek or pork cheek. Okay. Yippee-ki-yay, Schweinebacke. Your 92-year-old friend got Netflix CDs in the mail, and I had no idea what she was talking about. Well, hey, she was in her 70s, so yay for her. There you go. Rentals for physical media. Well, there's at least that. Wasn't there one Blockbuster store still? I mean, there's still if you're like in a really rural area where the streaming is bad, there's still video stores. Even I don't know if they have tapes, at least DVDs. You were a postal service customer of Netflix. It was a joy to get the mail. Yeah, I remember those days. Or they let you have 3 at once, up to 3, like a library. You can't check out more than 4 books or something. You could get 3 at a time from Netflix. Yeah. Oh, okay. Who did you review for? Your own platform, or did you review for somebody else? Triple N. Hate to be the one to break it to you. Is that okay? It's amazing to think about penicillin is not 100 years old. Sliced bread is a teens and 20s thing, so sliced bread late 20s, maybe. It's a great thing. See? People didn't go out and buy another DVD. I remember those years. A lot of people didn't mess with having a DVD player. They just used their Nintendo. Yep. And that was a selling point of the Nintendo. You can play DVDs on it. Oh, really? Cinema Paradiso. Okay. I'll remember that next time I'm bopping around the countryside in the UK. Very true. Very true. It was before Lost got famous for bringing it to networks or whatever. Hey, Sean, you co-host a YouTube B-Trek review show. B-Trek? We often have more fun reviewing the bad episodes than the good ones. More to talk about, to laugh at, to make up on our own plot changes that are better. There you go. Sean, you never talk about your YouTube channel show. Yes, that was definitely a decision, as they were struggling to make sure somebody enjoyed what they were doing. I feel like all this SNW's episodes were experiments. This is true, Sean. Sometimes the clock just runs out and you have to go shoot something. Especially if you think you've been working on it for a couple of months, it comes down to the nitty-gritty there under the press of time. Yes, I have so many stories. Well, you read the companion, you get it in a compressed form. But there were some, poor Aquiel, There were some they didn't care about that were bad, and there were some that were supposed to be really good, and they wound up not being good. And they just like, if I only had one more, one more. Okay. I still think it's kind of bizarre to keep using this word filler on a non-serialized season. Oh, you're up near Ontario. YXU or KYXU. That sounds like underground radio stations or something. This is YXU calling KYXU. This is YXU calling KYXU. Come in, please. Oh, now boys, don't fight over me. I think that's kind of, in a series that's not about an arc, that's, I don't see the point. Jared Kirshner's firm, Affinity. Oh, they did duck out of the bid. Oh, that's interesting. They didn't duck out of the bid because it was the politically right thing to do, ethically right thing to do. They got out of the bid group because, wow. It's just, they're playing 3D checkers. He's only acting like it's negative so they can lose. Yeah, right. Nobody doesn't care about public perception. Wondering why, with so many great properties going public domain, that we aren't seeing more classics adapted. Sherlock Holmes, Great Gatsby, Agatha Christie. I feel like there's a new Agatha Christie movie of some platform every year, it feels like. You know what's funny, Pedro, is I sometime in the last 6 months, I wasn't looking for this, but I came across it, and I was kind of shocked that it was that recent. Because, there's been nothing great since sliced bread was invented. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That phrase and that feeling is a lot more recent than we want to think. Well, I say that now. It'll be 100 years in 3 years. When doing the Trek files, how did you get your screenshots? Did you have early tapes, and was it hard to get good images? For the Trek files? How do you mean? You mean from the episodes? We just go to TrekCore if we need an episode shot. I'm not sure I know what you mean, Sean. Yeah, can you elaborate exactly what you mean here? For the first time in decades, there's a new antibiotic going into preclinical testing, i.e. something that's not just a variant on what we have. Very promising so far. Good. For all the people that have overused antibiotics and were threatening to unleash the super bug because everything's been inured to current antibiotics. Yes. Yesterday's Enterprise is the amazing, unlikely, improbable tale of what should have been a shit show that turned out to be a gem. That wasn't a very good metaphor, was it? Okay. Thank you, Christoph, for that. Thank you for this, Christoph. The warning. Wah, wah, wah. Aquio was pretty awful. Yes. Did you know that if you have the companion, you know this, the TNG companion, but for the finale in All Good Things, future Geordi they were mentioning Picard and he are talking, and Picard says, "How's Leah?" Meaning Geordi wound up marrying Leah Brahms in this alternate future timeline. Originally, that was going to be Aquiel. They were going to have Geordi married to Aquiel. And somebody said, "Do you really want to go there in any universe and timeline?" Well, it was Sean, remember, it was a little bitty cramped quarters relay station. I mean, it totally made sense that there wasn't much interior space, so it would have been a luxury if her quarters went to a hall that went to the workroom. Well, there was that whole time when yes, Acquio tried to be other things. Acquio was trying to be a cool murder mystery, and it just wound up being clunky. And then the visual effects for the dog looked like a first grader made them. So yeah. Yes. Well, I just kind of talked about it. What was wrong with it? The writers were like, "Oh, please, let's not ever talk. We will not speak of it again." Hi, Astroworks. You're exploding on the scene. Is that what this is? Well, that was right. It was meant to be a Geordie show. Oh, Fact Files. Back in the day, how did we get photos? When the Fact Files started, before digital everything, and we do it so easy now. Now, by the time they ended, we were close to it. But at the beginning, pocketbooks. Oh my God. For the companion, even though they were in black and white, there were some shots we absolutely had to have. And Gary Hutzel, late great visual effects guru wonderkind, would set up, they would do special shots for like calendars, like the Ships the Line and calendars and things. And they would get the models out and relight them and set them up for a photo shoot and do it. And they charged like $250 for a stand fee, and then $50 for the, I'm talking 90s prices, guys. And Fact Files was going to need dozens and dozens of hundreds of those. And they couldn't afford that. It totally blew the water. First of all, they were promised a lot more than licensing archives could deliver, which is why I was hired to get all this together, because there was no other equitable way to do it. It was very good. And no belly. Well, I was listed as art director, art coordinator. Every issue of the Fact Files has me down as art coordinator. What that meant was like art sourcing in LA. Or we need this. Oh, look. Jimmy Meese, the set decorator, his assistant, they took photos of every set for reference. Instead of having the crappy Polaroids, they actually had real camera shots. So every set from later Next Gen all the way through Voyager, his years, there were really good photos. So that's where those came from. And then you would talk to everybody else. Did you take your own photos of something? Well, yeah. Or we pulled these out in the bay. The visual effects guys would work on their reels at the end of the year, and they wanted stills before they could easily manipulate video without it being a huge hassle. But even that too. And I coordinated all that. But the early day frame grabs that we just now click and go, and it's no big deal. We churn those out. Back in the day, rather than use Gary in LA, they basically arranged as this high-end licensee that was going to bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. They got episode high def, as best as you could get, either shipped or satellite dropped to a shop in London that would do it for much cheaper. And so all those years, Fact Files used a shop in London. Ben Robinson would know what it was. They used a shop in London that would give them a deal that anybody would have loved to have had. And it wasn't that Gary was trying to, it was a new thing. And it was a hassle for them to pull up out of work and go over and do this. But they found a workaround to deliver it, stay in the budget. And yes, and then be able to deliver all those custom shots, because everything was just whatever. There were so many episodes where the 95% of the time, the set photographer, the still camera set photographer, was only on the set one day out of the 7 days. They would try to send them for the guest star or the cool set or the cool prop. But if you needed that moment from that show, you did. So when we did the companion, I think Pocketbooks paid for about 8. I had a list. I said, here's what we really need the moment. And I think we had a list of about 10 shots and paid them the setup. It wasn't a ship model, but paid the setup fee and had them put the tape in and pull as high a res off the master 2-inch tape. And so that's where we got them back in the day, but it had to be a list and it couldn't be forever. It had to be, I got it down to like 10. Yes. And then Fact Files, it was color and done in London for cheap. And it was, and part of my job was to come up with a list of exactly what we needed. I didn't have to do time code. Or did I do time? I may have even done time codes if it was something really picky. That's how we did it. That's another reason why. Would anybody really care about that kind of crap? Is that the kind of thing, like if I ever did a book, that somebody would want to read that? Has technology changed so much and that's so quaintly retro? Yeah. Hey, red shirt Bob. Okay. That's why it's posted later. If anybody gets value out of this, oh, didn't people just use a screen capture software? Well, a lot of people would do the editors could pull off low res, like the equivalent of Polaroids off the tape. They would do that. In the beginning, they weren't able to do it in color. But yes, I've got them put back, and I would take those and have them converted, go to a photo lab and have them converted to slides for my convention slideshows. And so I had images that nobody had that were cool. And that included bloopers. They would do blooper jokes at times and fix that up. Yeah, absolutely. There was no screen capture software. The guys in the bay had the best software, in the editing bay and visual effects, and they had the best software, and it was a hassle for them. We've come so far. We're talking 30 years ago. We're talking, you remember DS9? Gary wouldn't use CG until the last season of DS9 in 98, 99, because he wanted to be able to control it and not have some effects house be in control of the final image and tell him what he was going to take or not take. No. Voyager slid over earlier than that. But Gary was they were all perfectionists, but Gary was like an uber perfectionist. There you go. Wow. Actual questions here at the end. Yes. You noticed that, huh? You noticed that, huh? Still not in there. Terry wouldn't go there. I haven't had a chance to ask him why they didn't go there. Yeah. Well, it's not that it's so bad. They love to go on about the plasma ghost lover, oh, this has got me horny. It's a cup with a candle in it. Yep. What did I say? Paramount Streaming is a pay channel. Yeah. Did I say something to the contrary? Oh, you guys. Genesis, Masks, and Force of Nature were terrible episodes. They make Sabrusa look like a masterpiece. Yeah. Well, don't be so hard on Genesis. Of those three, Genesis is clearly not at the bottom. Now, Man of the People is terrible. Oh, that's funny, Bob. That's funny. Did you take set photos from RoboCop? Did you take them? Did you play the role? That's funny. There you go. And of course, you would be tracking all the Irish sensibilities. Right. Oh, you're talking about how the maternal line keeps the same linear name? Is that what you're talking about? Or something else? Yeah, they had isolated bits of CG, but I'm talking about for the most part, for like the workhorse of all the thing. Gary thought it wasn't advanced enough. He would point to Babylon 5 and go, see, Star Trek is not going to look like that. So you could either say we're pioneering CGI or we're having a pristine look here. Well, see, Voyager had a bit of Dan Curry told me in the early days when you saw the back end of the Voyager, you could tell the difference between the lit model, the physical model, and the CG, because the physical model did not have lights in the back 3 little windows, and the CG model did. Oh, you guys are making me, I feel like I'm back doing slideshows in the 90s at cons now. And no one else was talking about this stuff. Damn it. I wish we'd gotten, oh well. Water under the bridge, gang. Water under the bridge. So underappreciated back in the day. Showing up to places where they couldn't turn the lights down in the hall, so your slides were worthless, and you had stuff nobody had seen yet. And yeah, I just was like, why do you have people bring media and you can't dim the lights in here? You can't put something on the skylights? Yeah. Since those characters are named in All Good Things, those writers get money for using them in Picard. I don't think so, because they were only mentions. They weren't fleshed out characters. Make sense? They were just mentions. Yeah. I think we're at the end of the chat, gang. I think that's where we are. Good fun day here, kids. Thanks, everybody, for coming in and out. Have we lost people to the next show? Maybe we have. I lose track of who's on when on Tuesdays. I know Ryan and his gang are sneaking in somewhere. But hey, let me just leave you with this. I just want to thank all our Patreons again. I can't say for the year, because we're going to have one more episode. Remember, we're going to leave off a week from now. No Tuesdays live on the 23rd, but we'll be back on the 30th. Meanwhile, one more shout out to my December, as of the 1st of the month, my December Patreons. Thank you guys so much. If you want to jump on it, if you're curious, it's very easy. $5 or $10. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. What is wrong here? Very, very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you guys, sincerely. Thanks so much. And hey, again, if you're saving your pennies and you want to jump in, the week before Vegas, you can even go off that QR code. Bobby and Sirach and Tim and Armin are among the guests. We have a couple more to announce next month when we confirm that up. Yay. Of course, a Trekland treks anytime with me. You're in LA and have a spare day. And why would you not figure that in? TreklandTreks.com. Check out. Oh, I've got video I haven't put up from last week yet. We had a great time. Carol and Scott from Indianapolis had a great time. A great time. Trek Files again is up. It's Mike Sutzman talking about the roots of Archer from In a Mirror Darkly. And we talk about a pitch that's out there now getting so much attention in headlines. Kind of funny. Kind of interesting to me. But it's a great conversation, the Trek Files, wherever fine podcasts are caught. You can actually get the best home at Memory Alpha. TheTrekFiles.com is a direct URL. The documents are there. You want to see the documents. And, of course, there's an audio player there, too. That's all there. And if you want to join the Trekophiles actual official community, Trekophiles spelled with an F, you can pay $1 a month minimum into the Mission Log Roddenberry Patreon, and we meet up on Discord. That gives you access to the Discord and all the other Roddenberry shows and their fan groups, their community groups, and some of the live support community groups that are attached to those podcasts too, as well. Not just the Trek Files. Every other Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Yep, and I've got some Trekophile Tonighters in the chat here too. I know Mona's in here. And gang, here's the rest of the socials. Maybe I'll get these updated finally. These are some of the original ones. This is probably 6 years old, but it's still the same. No, we've updated it. Yeah. Gosh, I've never put Blue Sky on here. That's how old it is. They're all there. Portal47.net is your backstage pass to more in-depth Trek with Dr. Trek, where no Savvy fan has gone before. If you enjoyed the talk here, it's even more so. And yes, tomorrow is, for you Portales, tomorrow is the European and midday U.S. Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable. I look forward to seeing everybody there. I have some mailings to send out. We're going to have a delayed guest night because of the holiday madness and lack of a nice, sane Wednesday in Dead Week. This year, the Wednesdays are both eves, so we're not going to do that. And we'll double up in January, just to let everybody know. Thanks so much for joining us here on Tuesday. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Until then, everybody, oh my gosh, finish out your menorah. Happy Hanukkah. Stay safe out there with all the gift shopping and all the partying. Our Will Rogers party is Saturday after a bittersweet year. But wherever you're going, online or in live person, everybody, please, 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 please stay well, stay healthy, do all the things, stay woke, check your sources, and yeah, truck well, everybody.